Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. And I've been off for 2 weeks. I haven't seen you guys since before the Minnesota game. So I'm back. I missed the Minnesota and the Seahawks game. I'll talk about it briefly, but I hope, first of all, that you all had a wonderful holiday. Happy New Year. It's 2025, and 2025 has got to be better for the Chicago Bears than 2024. And for us fans. That's what I'm hoping, right? So let's hope it's a much better year. I can't believe we're going to be talking about the last game and then the playoffs. I mean, we waited all spring and summer for the season to start, and then we had one of the worst seasons that I can remember with everything that happened in my 49 years. This year, when the season starts in September, it'll be 50 years. Yeah, I know. So, you know what? We're going to talk a little bit, but I really, again, hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I was gone for 10 days. I celebrated with my grandbabies and my son and his wife, and then on the 22nd, we spent the whole day together. We had a wonderful Christmas. 23rd, I headed to Tennessee to my sisters and my brother-in-law, and then on Christmas Eve, we got up bright and early and drove to Kentucky to be with my niece, her husband, and their two awesome little kids. And so the seven of us spent 5 days in Kentucky. Then I went back to Tennessee. We partied there, and then I came home yesterday on the 2nd. I went through 3 time zones, and I am messed up. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I keep getting goofed up, and at my age, man, it's hard. And we partied pretty hard, but I had a really good time, and I really just hope everybody else had a wonderful holiday, and I really hope that your 2025 is everything you want it to be for you personally. So, and I hope, and thank you for turning me back on, for the last official pregame show, because we are going to be playing the Packers on Sunday, and then that's it for the Bears. The Packers will be moving on, but we will not. So, but I'm telling you right now, 2025, the Bears are going to have at least a 500 season, if not better. You heard it here. Remember that. All right, so let's get into it a little bit. Since I've been gone, I missed the Minnesota game and the Seahawks game. And the Bears lost 34-17 to Minnesota, and they lost that Thursday night boring ass game to Seahawks 6-3. And I'm just going to briefly talk about them both, the shitty parts of both of those games. In the Minnesota game, the Bears rushed for 59 yards only. And you've heard me say a million times, you got to have over 100 plus yards to win a game. They had 2 fumbles by the same player. Number 15, our wonderful rookie Rome wide receiver, two fumbles in that game. They had 10 penalties. Never going to win a game when you have 10 penalties. The bright spot, Cabe threw for 323 yards. That was a good game for him. So I was real happy about that. The defense gave up too many rushing yards, so we didn't see any more about that game. And then the Seahawks game, well, it was boring, 6-3. The defense showed up because the Seahawks are trying to get into the playoffs, so they did win that game, but barely. The Bears actually rushed for 103 yards, but only had 76 passing yards with 1 interception. And Cabe was sacked 7 times. They ended up punting 7 times in that game. You're never going to win a game when your punter is out there 7 times. I'm just saying. And again, the interim coach did what Flus did and fucked up the last series of that game where we could have gone down and tied it up. They wasted time, and then they did some dumbass calls. And I think, my personal opinion is, they should have went for the 57-yard field goal. I know Santos' longest was 55, but you were 4-11. What the hell did you have to lose? I believe he would have kicked that one, and we would have gone to overtime. And you never know what's going to happen. So another bonehead move by another shitty head coach, which we will not consider to consider as a head coach, because he is not going to be considered. They may play the game, but forget it. He does not deserve it either. And I was wondering in that game, why don't they throw downfield more? I kept saying it, like I was with my brother-in-law, who is a Packer fan, and my sister and my niece and nephew and their kids, and we were all talking about it, and I said, they got nothing to lose. Let's see what Cabe can do. What the hell? Who cares, right? So, but that's that. They lost them both, and now we're ready to play our last game, the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay on Sunday. I'm just going to tell you that I'm not going to even give you the bad news. The Packers obviously are winning that rivalry, and in 2025 in September, we're going to change it. I'm telling you, things are going to turn around. And I got to tell you, there would be nothing more that would make us Bears fans, us loyal Bear fans, is the Bears to win out and beat Green Bay on Sunday, wouldn't it? I mean, it does nothing for the Bears, but it hurts Green Bay because then they have to play a harder person in because they're a wild card in the playoffs. So that would be great. And it would somewhat save a really, really shitty season, wouldn't it? If we could end the season with a W against Green Bay. I would do the happy dance on Monday on the show. Happy dance, happy dance. So I'm going to do a few stats, not much. I'm going to give more for the Bears than I am. I usually go and I compare passing, rushing, points scored, and points allowed, both teams. I'm not really going to get into it too much. I'll give a little bit. So the Bears are passing an average of 184 yards a game. That puts them 29th out of 32 teams in the league. All I'm going to tell you is Green Bay's 12th in passing in the league. Rushing, the Bears are averaging a pitiful 103 yards. That puts them 25th in the league out of 32 teams rushing. Green Bay's 5th. Yeah, you heard it, 5th in running. So we're in trouble. Points scored by the Bears, they're averaging 17.9. That puts them 28th in the league. Green Bay's 8th in scoring on their offense. And points allowed by your defense, the only good bright spot, we're averaging 21.8. That puts us 10th in the league, and Green Bay is 6th. So they're in the top 10 three times, rush, points scored, and points allowed, and they're 12th in passing. So they're good, as much as I hate to say it. And I didn't want to give you all their yards because I didn't want to depress you. So it's going to be a challenge. There's no doubt about it. The Bears, on paper, are going to get killed, but you just never know because every Sunday is a new day. So you never know. But let's just finish up some stuff that I wrote down. So Cabe, you know what, considering he has an atrocious offensive line, had no real head coach, had no real offensive coordinator, he has passed so far 3,393 passes, passing yards so far, with 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and has rushed for 479 yards. In a season, he is right up there with Kramer. Kramer in 1995, he has passed as a quarterback. He passed for the most yards in history for a quarterback. Eric Kramer in 1995, he passed for 3,838 yards. So Cabe is not really that far behind. So my point here to tell you that is that, Kramer had an offensive line. And he probably had a running attack too in the 90s. I know he did. But Cabe didn't have that. He doesn't have an offensive line and doesn't have a running attack because, again, Swift sucks. And he's proven it the last 2 games since I've been gone. I've been on his case since day one. And I still feel the same way. He's not the answer. He could be number 2. The Bears got to go in this draft that I hear is heavy with running backs. In this draft, they got to get a power back to get those runs, get those, real hard 10-yard runs, get those first downs when you have 1 or 2 or 3 yards to go, get those first downs on 4th and 1, because Swift cannot do it. He's great. He's good. He's great in space. He can take off. He can catch the ball. He's nice for another receiver, but he is not a leading running back. We need a power back. Like I've said, Detroit's great. They've got Montgomery power back and what's his name, Gibbs. is their finesse, and look what they're doing. So, and we know Cabe is leading the league in being sacked 67 times, the most in the league. I believe C.J. Stroud is behind him at 72. So we do not want him to get sacked anymore. Especially, we do not want him. David Carr was in 2002. David Carr, his brother now Derek is playing for New Orleans, but David Carr is a commentator on the NFL Network. If you guys remember David Carr, he was a quarterback in the league. Maybe some people might not know. In 2002, he was sacked the most, 76 times. And I know it had an effect on him because he was never really the same. He didn't turn out to be the quarterback they thought. Derek is definitely better, but Derek the last few years has been hurt, and that's just ruined his career. So we don't want Cabe to get sacked 10 times. We do not want that to happen, okay? So that's the game. We're in Green Bay. You know that. I'm not going to give any more stats because it's just not worth it. I gave you the ones you need to know. So I'm just going to talk talk a little bit on this show, and then, send you off on your way. I will be back Monday to do a follow-up on the Bears game, and then I may do one or two shows. I'm not really sure, but I'll let you know, because once the playoffs start, the Bears are out of it. I'll probably come back and do a show when the head coach is hired, and we'll go from there. So today and Monday will be the official last, and then I'll come back when the new head coach comes along. So, but to my point where I said a few minutes ago, I said, why aren't the Bears throwing downfield more? Is Cabe not getting the chance? Is Cabe not able to do it? What's going on? And I've been reading all week some things he said, that a lot of the sacks have been on him. We know that. And Cabe has to learn to throw the ball away. He's terrible at that, and that's something that they have to learn in the offseason. But even when we fired the Shane Waldron, 5-6 weeks ago, the offense didn't really look that much different. It looked mostly like a Shane Waldron offense and this is why. When the offenses, NFL teams come into camp, they get a new playbook, and there are 200 to 250 plays in their playbook. They have to memorize those plays. And a weekly offensive playing game, they're gonna use 75 to 100 passing plays out of those 250 that they've memorized, and then they're going to use 15 to 25 running plays. So, when you've got 5-6 games left, whatever it was when Waldron was fired, you can't start with a brand new offense. You just can't. These guys have memorized 250 plays, and, it's a lot. So you can throw in a few things here and there, but they have shown the head coach, he's not doing it. And at this point, I'm like, why not? Throw that ball downfield. Let Rome, let Clement take off and see what the hell happens. What do you got to lose? Nothing. I know Cabe might get an interception here and there, and it could hurt his record, his stats, but who cares? Right now, I want to see this kid get that ball downfield. And then the running plays are awful. I really wanted to see Johnson in there more. I would like to see him start the game and Swift as the second guy and just pound the ball on Green Bay. Now, I know they're banged up a little bit on defense, but I do believe they need to win this game because it will dictate who they play and don't play in the playoffs. So I think they're going to come out and probably play the players they can that aren't banged up. But, the Bears have got to throw some winkles in this game. Everybody knows what the Bears are. And Green Bay, we just played them, 4 weeks ago. So they know what they're facing. So the Bears got to come out on Sunday and just mix it up. Who cares? Wouldn't you rather the Bears come out, smash running that ball, picking up yards, and whipping the ball downfield? Maybe there's some missed catches and stuff, but what if we break them open a little bit, right? Why not? Just throw that book out and just throw some plays in you haven't done for the hell of it. Like I just said, you're not going to do that probably because they've memorized. That's a lot of plays to memorize. A lot of people in the day used to think football players were stupid. Nobody's stupid if they have to memorize 200 to 250 plays in a playbook, have to memorize them all, and then each game you can on passing have up to 100 different play schemes on passing and up to 25 running plays. That's a lot to learn, and everybody on the offense has to learn it. The offensive line, the quarterback, the running backs, the wide receivers, the tight ends, they have to. So that's really why I know. Probably people are saying, why are they doing the same shit? Well, that's really why. It's almost impossible. But I still think you could put some wrinkles in there, and I think they should. So we'll see. But there would be nothing better than beating those damn Packers on Sunday because they wouldn't expect it. And again, I don't care if they beat them by 1 point. I want to come home with a victory and end the year with a victory because a victory, your last game, can certainly help catapult you to the new season. It really can. It gets the guys, they're like, okay, they don't go home with their heads quite as low hanging as they have been. So, I don't know. A victory would be huge for the Bears, and it would be bigger for the fans, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? You guys, you're all going, yeah, F the Packers. And I've been reading a lot. I do want to say one other thing. Brisker went out, our wonderful backfield guy, number 9, second year in the league. Brisker, awesome. Second or third year? I can't remember, whatever. And he's been out. He went out after he got injured in game 5. And after that, we only won 1 game. Food for thought, right? He has missed the rest of the season, and we've hardly heard anything about him. I'm a little concerned why. In December, there was rumors he was coming off of injured reserve and that he was actually going to practice, and then boom, silence. What's going on there? Brisker is hugely missed because I know he's a back guy, a cornerback, but he gets interceptions. He's great on causing trouble at the line. He comes up and he'll be that surprise guy. He'll get a sack. He causes fumbles. He's always in a play when he was playing. Always. Think about it, number 9. And since he's left, we won 1 game, and it was against the Jaguars, who are worse than us. So, you wonder what is going on there. Now, this was his third, it is 3 years. He's been in the league 3 years. That was his third concussion. So, very concerned about him, but I wanted to mention it because people probably have forgotten about him because they haven't really talked about him, and I really like to know why. But think about it. His presence was solely missed. If he was in those games, I'm positive we would have won more of those games. I bet that Hail Mary never happens. I'm just saying. He's such a fine player, and I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to see. So let's hope we get Brisker back, that it's not a career-ending concussion, because some players do leave after these happen because they don't want to have mush brains the rest of their life. So we'll see what happens. But Brisker, food for thought, people. Think about it. When he went down, everything changed. Everything. So let's talk a little bit about the head coach, what's going on. I've been reading what the players have been saying, and I agree with a lot of them. The players, I've been reading comments about the head coach. They want a head coach. A lot of them are saying they want a coach to make players accountable, who will get in their faces if needed. That will be like, will stand there and say, I want players on my team that will give me 110%. And if they don't give me 110%, you go find another football team to play with, because you're not going to be a Chicago Bear. A head coach will give a kick-ass when they need it. That's what we need. Like we had in the 80s and the 90s, Ditka, hard ass. And then in early 2000s, Lovie Smith. These were guys that would get in your face, would tell you, would make you accountable. I mean, when I hear a player say, and let me read some others. Another player said, we need a head coach, somebody who is loud, who knows how to make you work hard on the field, in practice and in the games. Someone who knows who the Chicago Bears are and know that it's a great organization and needs to come back. We want to make it a place where the players want to come to play, not to die. He will tell players and get in their face. And these players are saying, yeah, Williams, this is what Williams said. Williams said he wants a coach who challenges the players, whether that's on the field or in terms of their character. He also wants the man of his word, a disciplinary coach, and someone who wants to win. Very interesting. And Cabe or Clement said some stuff like this. JJ has said it. Bard has said it. And if you start to read through the lines, in between the lines, it's saying that the coaches, Flus, wasn't making people accountable, wasn't getting in their faces, wasn't a man of his word, and wasn't making sure he got the best out of each player. And the fact that they're not making them accountable, they're not challenging the players. What is that? That and discipline. I know there's no discipline because of the penalties. Penalties start at the top, head coach. It's lack of discipline. I've been telling you all year. You know I hate them. You know, in that Minnesota game, 10 penalties, and it just killed them. I was just, I didn't do a show, but let me tell you, if I broke them down, you would have been pissed. And that is discipline. You got a quarterback, been there 1 year, and he's calling out his old coach. And a lot of players are saying the same things. And the ones that are saying it, Williams, Clement, JJ, Bard, they're the ones who are playing their ass off and have been playing their asses off. And they have every right to say what they want because they know what they're doing on the field. They want everybody else. So there's players on that team that I'm thinking have given up a long time ago. And they're probably making a shit ton of money, Sweat. Oh, did I say that out loud? I mean, what has he got? 5.5 sacks? That's bullshit. We didn't give him all that money last year for 5.5 sacks. We gave him, he's got to have double digits for the kind of money he's making. And, and the running game, I'm not going to, but it says a lot when the team, and you're hearing this more and more and more. So the Bears have got to go. So, I don't want Poles making the decision. I would love to see Poles get fired too, because when you start looking at the mistakes he's made, terrible, terrible mistakes. I mean, Nate Davis was one big red flag. People I read more and more about this, that other teams told him not to sign him, that he's always hurt, he's always complaining. What does he do? He signs him anyways, gives him a big contract. The guy never played for us. He hardly played at all, and when he did nothing. That alone, get the fuck out of here. And how the time management happened in the games, and when that Hail Mary, they did not address it. He just rode over it. The time management problems. He should be fired. And we need another GM. I don't think they're going to fire him, but I'd like to see it. But I hope Warren is the one who makes the decision on the head coach and not Poles, because he's proven he can't do it. And I know there's a lot of names out there on people who everybody wants. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. My son is all at 100%. There's Kingsbury, who is the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, who, by the way, a few years ago last year, he interviewed for the offensive coordinator job, and the Bears didn't give it to him. I think things would have been a lot different if Kingsbury was our offensive coordinator this year. Plus, he was an assistant at USC when Cabe was there. What else? Pete Carroll, forget he's too freaking old. I've heard offensive or defensive coordinator for Minnesota, Flores, I think his name is. And then Mike Gravel. That's who I want. And the reason, one of the two sole reasons why I want Mike Gravel is he's been a head coach and he's played in the NFL. 3 reasons. And he played under, who I don't like, but he's a fantastic coach, Bill Belichick. He's got 3 good things. And he had a winning record in Tennessee, but the wheels fell off his last year, so it was let go. You know how that goes. Shit. The Bears fired Lovie Smith when he had a record of 10-6. What happened there, right? Wouldn't you still like to have him back? They fired him with 10-6. So something happened behind the scenes, and that happened to Gravel too. But that's why I want him. I know a lot of people want Ben Johnson because of look what he's done with an average quarterback golf and that offense. But he's an offensive genius. There's no doubt about it. But He's never been a head coach. And the last four coaches, so now I'm not including Fox in there because he was awful and he was a head coach, but there was four coaches we hired to be our head coach, and none of them had head coaching experience, and they were all fired. So what does that say? The Bears need to bring in somebody who's got the experience. Now, Gravo, he is a defensive guy. I know that. Everybody thinks we should have an offensive head coach. And I agree with that too. So it's really, but I also think we need somebody who really knows, everything from top to bottom, not just coaching an offense, somebody who's coached a defense, an offense, special teams, all the guys in the locker room, all 53 guys. He's accountable for them, and he's going to make them accountable. And I don't know if Ben Johnson's the guy. Maybe he is, but I don't know if I'm willing to take that chance just yet. You know what? The Bears have got to turn this around. I mean, I read, and I'm sure you guys heard this too, that in that last game against the Seahawks, the last quarter, the fans were yelling, sell the team, sell the team, sell the team. I think everybody's just about fucking had it with the Bears. And the problem with football, opposed to I don't know, basketball is probably the same as baseball, but you don't have to buy your tickets before the season starts. You can, but you can buy them as they go along, right? Not football. You can, there's some tickets, but usually the good ones are taken up before the season starts, and then they've already got your money. See, that's the problem. So, because people say, well, stop going to the games. Well, you've already paid for the tickets. And people say, well, then they're not making money on the concessions. Well, the Bears don't anyways. They probably make a percentage, but the stadium's owned by the Chicago. They make the money, not the Bears. So, we need a head coach. Because the fans, we got to have somebody legit. The fans are done. And I believe that the fans may speak in the off season, depending on who they hire, whether they do buy the tickets right away. Maybe the Bears fans should everybody except for season ticket holders, the other people, not buy them right away. Stand back a little bit because they go on sale in the middle of May, I believe, and then everybody buys them. When my sister and I went to the Carolina game, we had our tickets bought in May, and they were okay tickets, and they were, but see what I mean? And so you can't boycott them that way unless you just do and just say, we're not going. We're going to sit at home this year and leave the stadium not sold out. And that might wake the Bears up. I don't know what's going to wake them up. I think they've had their, people are saying sell the team, and I'm telling you this, the McCaskey, Virginia McCaskey, we all know her. She's the daughter of George. George Halas is the one and only owner of that team. He bought the team when he was a young man. He played on the team, he coached the team, and he owns the team. So that is her father, and that's her legacy. So the Bears, the McCaskeys can't sell until she passes on. And I don't want to say that because I don't like saying that about somebody. But it's the truth. They will not sell that team because she will not do it. She is the final word on that, and she won't let them. Now, I believe when she passes, she will eventually, but I believe the McCaskeys will sell it because nobody in that family wants to run the team. They got to have people in that family, and obviously they don't want to. So the bottom line is a head coach is the next biggest thing we need, and we got to get a good head coach, and then he brings good offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and other coordinators, special teams, all of them under his umbrella, and he brings the team back to where they should. Number 1, discipline. Number 2, accountability. Number 3, working 110%. Number 4, having some pride to be a Chicago Bear. And number 5, earning your fucking paycheck. That's what the Chicago new coach has to bring us. He's got to bring us playoff wins. And most importantly, we want to start beating Green Bay again. When Lovie Smith came, 2 things he said, and he did both of them. I'm going to take you to a Super Bowl. We lost it, but we went in 2006, and we're going to start being in Green Bay again, and that happened for a while until He left and it stopped again. So we need something and somebody like that. We need somebody who's going to come in and shake that locker room up. And whoever falls out of the bag, get rid of them. The rest of them stay, right? So we'll see. I do want to give a shout out to Cole Kmet. He won the Good Guy Award. This is the second time he won it. And the Good Guy Award is a award given. It's the Pro Football Writers of America present the award, the Good Guy Award, annually to a player, coach, or staff member who best helps the media do their jobs. And this is the second time he has won it in 3 years. So good for you. He is a good guy. But the thing is, they didn't use him this year. He's got the least amount of yards since he's been with the Bear. I mean, there's another thing. There are just so many things that are wrong with the Chicago Bears. And when we started the season, did we think any of that was going to be a problem? No, because we drank the Kool-Aid again. That's one thing I got to give the McCaskies and Poles and Flus. They know how to make that Kool-Aid and stir it up and feed it to us because it worked 2 years in a row. And I'm not doing it this year. So now they're going to have to prove it. I said I'm going on 50 years watching the Bears, 1975. And I've told you, if you're a regular watcher, I am a Bears fan. I watch them all the time. I wear stuff. When I was in Tennessee, we went out we went out and partied a few times. And every time I come down, my brother-in-law is like, you got Bears stuff on. I'm like, so? My sister goes, that's all she wears anymore. It's not true, but pretty close. But, yeah, I mean, you guys, I want to win this game so bad. I can taste it. I know we don't have a chance. But, again, any team can be beaten on any given Sunday, and I believe that for sure. I've seen it in all my years watching football. But the problem is, who in that locker room is going to motivate those guys to want to come out and beat Green Bay? It's going to be cold. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's the last game. All they want to do is go back, empty their lockers, and get the hell out of Dodge. You know it. So there isn't going to be anybody who wants to motivate these guys. I thought about calling George McCaskey and asking him, but then I forgot because I was on vacation, saying, hey, put me on a Zoom or FaceTime. I'll motivate those assholes to beat Green Bay. I may be 5'1", but I am mighty 5'1". That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you probably didn't know I was 5'1", did you? I'm a short little thing, but I may be short, but I'm a tough ass. But so let's just hope. I know this show wasn't, but we're going to talk more on Monday about it, but it is. The team, we need an offensive line. We need running backs. We need some more defensive guys. We need help on the defensive line. Booker didn't materialize as much as I thought. He was a rookie on the other end of Sweat. Sweat didn't show me much this year either, nor did Swift. I get them mixed up because they both didn't do well. You know, our linebackers, we need some more middle line. We need some linebackers. You know, you got Edwards who shows up every week, but you know what? The other guys, Sanborn, I like him, but he's hit or miss. You know what I mean? Sanborn is more of a second string, I think. We've got wide receivers. We've got tight ends. You know what? It sounds like we need a lot, but we actually don't. If you can just, most importantly, offensive line, running back, defensive line. And then we fill, get some linebackers, maybe, if you could steal, we don't really, you steal a wide receiver or cornerback, because we don't know what's going to happen to Brisker. So if Brisker doesn't come back, then you definitely need to go get a new cornerback for sure. So lot to work on, lot to think about. And I the season's over Sunday. And the Bears have a lot of work to do. And of course, they've been looking. I hope they have. I have. So they have. And I'm sure they have some ideas, but I just pray they do not fuck it up this time. Like I said, I've seen some bad seasons, but the whole we've never fired a coach during the season. It happened this year after they fired the offensive coordinator. We ended up making a guy who was under the offensive coordinator. He was like basically the quarterback coach, then became the offensive coordinator, and then became the head coach. How pathetic is that? And he wasn't good at that. He wasn't good at any of it. Of course, again, I said you can't redo a whole playbook, but you could have made some changes, and I didn't see it. I saw the same Shane Waldron shit each week and week out. So, you know what? There's a lot. So, let's just put all our Bears gear on. Let's cross everything you can on your body, and let's pull out a victory so I can do the happy dance and sing the victory song on Monday. If not, well, I'll talk to you Monday. We'll go over the game, and then we're going to talk from there. So, but wasn't a regular show, but I gave you stuff, and I hope you're turning me on and listen Monday, and I'll let you know from there what my schedule will be. But again, I thank you so much. Thank you for watching me this season, all the loyal watchers. I have some very loyal ones that have been watching me for years, and some newbies that have really been cool watching me this year. And I know it's not easy. That's why I took off the last 2 weeks. I was traveling, and I was out of town. It would have been difficult to do a show, but I just had to clear my head and not having to worry. It just, you know what I mean? Just sitting watching the game and being like, whatever, So, I mean, I didn't even care that Minnesota game. I was just like, whatever. It was on. I was with my grandkids, so whatever. So, but I do appreciate it because it's not hard. People who watch my show are true Bear fans. And they're fans of my show, and I appreciate that. I mean, I say it all the time, but I really do. I mean, I'm 66 and a half, and I'll tell you what. I was gone 10 days, 3 time zones, and my niece is like, it was like midnight, and I've been up since like 7:30 in the morning. We started probably partying at noon. She's like, you going to bed already? I go, I'm exhausted. And, when you get up with a house of a 2-year-old and a 14-month-old, you never sit down. And I'm like, I'm old, honey. I can't keep up like I used to, because I used to put them all to bed. I was always the last one up, and that wasn't that long ago, but I'll tell you what, I felt 66. And the Bears have made me feel old too, and I don't like it. So, Bears, 2025, this little show person is getting her shit together, because I had some health issues this last year. I'm going to work hard to get past those, get back into some shape. And the Chicago Bears, you better frickin' do it too. You hear me? And it starts Sunday. You can start and finish the season with a victory on Sunday. Your fans might like you just that much more because we're pissed. Right? But don't take it out on me. Just watch me, because I'm going to make you laugh, right? Because remember, her father's face on a woman's body, just not fair. We were talking about, those DNA tests you can do. A lot of people in my family did it, and I told people, don't ever give it to me. I don't want it. And I used to joke. I said, I'd find out of the 4 of us, I was the one that they adopted. That would be my luck. And we all laughed, but then everybody in the room goes, not possible, Aunt Lynn. And my sister's like, not possible, honey, because you look just like Dad. She said Grandpa and Dad, and they're right. But he was a good guy, and he was a handsome man. Can't you tell? All right, I love you guys. Thanks for watching. And as always, I say, be kind. Love one another. Just care for each other. It's a new year. There's going to be challenges this year. I met a lot of really nice people when I was traveling, and they're out there. They really are. So be kind. Be, like I said all last month, let's pretend it's Christmas all the time, and be that kindness that you have Christmas time, share it all 12 months. I try to. I really do. I try to make people laugh. I try to make them smile. And, I can't pour money on people, but I can pour laughter and love and compassion. And that's all we need. And especially us Bears fans. We need to stick together and love one another and care for one another. Okay? I love you guys. We're going to get a victory on Sunday because this little one has had it up to here. And I'm not that tall. All right. I'll see you on Monday. Hopefully we can celebrate. And let's just hope if we do lose, they don't cream us. And on that note, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. See you Monday.